The library meeting, Novi Public Library Board of Trustees meeting is Thursday, January 8, 2026. If you're able, we stand for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'll ask the secretary to do the roll call.
Trustee Bartlett.
Here.
Trustee Burke.
Here.
Trustee Crawford.
Here.
Trustee Dooley.
Here.
Trustee Gawalapu is excused. Trustee Helvangus is present. Trustee Stirring.
Present.
6 present.
Next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
Move to approve. I'll second.
Been moved to approve and seconded the agenda. Any discussion? If not, I ask the secretary to take the vote.
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Crawford.
Yes.
Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
Trustee Helvangus, yes. Trustee Stirring.
Yes.
Trustee Bartlett.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of the minutes of December 11, 2025, which was a regular board meeting. It also consists of approving the claims and the warrants of accounts 271 and 272, which are on pages 13 through 15 of our booklet.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion?
I do want to make one comment
Okay.
about how thorough the notes are, the minutes from the last meeting.
Yes, very
Thank you,
much so.
Carla, for filling in.
Yes, you're very welcome.
With that comment, let's ask the secretary to call the vote on the consent agenda.
Trustee Crawford.
Yes.
Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
Trustee Helvangus is yes. Trustee Stirring.
Yes.
Trustee Bartlett.
Yes.
And Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Next item on our agenda is presentations. I believe there are none tonight. Public comment. In order to hear all citizens' comments at a reasonable hour, the library board requests that speakers respect the 3-minute time limit. This is not a question and answer period. However, it is appropriate to voice your thoughts with the library board. Citizens must state their first, last name, and address. I see nobody rushing to the podium for public comment. Moving on to the reports. There's no student representative report tonight. In regard to the president's report, first of all, I want to mention the budget meetings, which are coming up. That's Saturday, January 17th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and Thursday, February 5, that would be from 5 to 8. Next item I want to mention is on page 17 through 19. There is this magazine article from the American Libraries, which is very interesting. Tells us what's been happening and kind of a struggling year for the libraries at the public sector anyway.
Yeah, thank you for that. I found that interesting.
Same.
I have nothing new to report in regard to the board committee assignments. And with that, I'll open it up if any board member has anything they want to mention related that's either happened in the past month or is coming up that want to alert the other members to. Anything?
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Happy New Year. Okay. Happy New Year. Great.
Well, since our last board meeting, we did have a board policy committee meeting where Julie presented Ajita with a certificate of appreciation. So that was nice. I think she appreciated that.
Yep.
That was nice.
Yep.
So
Nice. Very nice.
we will miss her.
Yep.
Yes. That's it.
Julie?
I do have one thing to add. I'm not sure if you followed any of the Library of Michigan information that's come out in the past week, but our state librarian, Randy Riley, passed away suddenly. And so just wanted to make you aware. Randy was great. I actually worked with him a little bit in terms of advocacy and He was very professional and very much working for our individual libraries here in the state. And so it was very sudden and it's very sad. So I just want to make you all aware of that. It's a very big position and a high position that's regarded in our state. It's great that we have someone who represents us at the state level. And so I was sorry to see that news.
I did see that. Is there like an interim person? Is there?
Not that I've
did
heard
he
of
have
at this
an
point.
assistant or
Yeah.
anything?
I think what they do is, and I can follow up to get you more information, but I think that what they do is they put back out for an opportunity for someone who would move into that position. But I'll find out if they're doing anything interim. I know that
No, that's okay.
they're
I was just
doing
curious.
visitation and stuff this week, and the state of Michigan, the staff that's there is recognizing him, and there's even a fund that you can make a donation to in his name. So that information just came over this week. So you will see something in the board pack next month just because of it happening, but I wanted to bring it up now just because it's so fresh. It just happened this week. So thank you.
And I will note that we all had at our table tonight, the Novi Public Annual Report.
Yes.
Are you going to speak to this, Julie?
This, I can right now for you.
Oh,
This is a snapshot. You saw the full report, and everything was approved, and we presented the larger annual report with all the information to our city council in December. But what Dana likes to do, which I appreciate, is to put something a little smaller together with just the stats and some major points, to call out. So if someone's grabbing something quickly from the library, we'll have this available. And I'll call it almost like a cheat sheet for the annual report. So just wanted you to have this in case you need it for anything, and talking points should you need it in the future. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? President's report? If not, moving on to the treasurer's report. Brian.
Okay, we have the report that's in our hands as we speak, because budgeting sessions start next week. Should note that the Finance Committee will be going over an adjusted version of this that we just got from the city staff, with the city staff not having a finance director at this point. But the most important item for us is, if you look down at the additional millage, the estimated additional millage, this is not approved by city council. So from our budgeting standpoint in the next couple of weeks, we are only going to be able to deal with the 402.000 revenue line. So we're going to really have to sharpen our pencils, because it's going to be very tough, especially 2 to 3 years out, to make our commitment to fund balance. With that regard, we have a transfer that we've included in this segment of about $200,000 a year to, per our study. And the building has made itself known this last week with the pipes. I mean, this needs to be done, and somehow we have to get that across to folks that there needs to be funding for all this. But that's probably going to also drop from our listing of talking points, because we're not going to have the money to put in there, the way the reserve study suggests we are. So just wanted to give everybody a heads up, and to let everybody know that if you're looking at this sheet and including that in your plans, please do not. It's about $1 million. That's about $1 million less revenue.
Do we know when we're going to be on their agenda?
We have no commitment to be on their agenda at this point that I've seen. Our first request with the adjustment was in September. They've chosen to meet. They met with Julie, but not with the Finance Committee as a whole
Right.
to this point.
And we presented our memo that you had in the board pack for December. That information was received by council. It was shared with me to work on our budget, for 26, 27, and those future projections. And then as we get towards approval in February, for me to reach out, because that's when they're going to really hunker down on the city's budget themselves, plus our information, and then I'd be queuing up a meeting from there. I do know that they approved their budget in April, so I would be doing that within that time, bringing it to them and getting them all the information so that they have it in advance. Mhm. So we're following their timeline that they had
Yeah.
asked for.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even though there's not a specific meeting that's identified.
Correct.
It is clearly on
Yep.
their minds.
It
and
is.
They know we're coming and they know what we're looking for and we
Yep.
do fine tuning things and
Right.
making a nice package for them.
So I guess from that standpoint, are they looking for us to say, here's what we're going to cut, here's what we're going to get rid of in our budget? You know, like, for example, say we decide to close on Sundays?
Well, I think what we do first is in my opinion, from what we've talked about in Finance Committee, is put together the budget that we think we can work with, that we are good with, without making cuts yet, presenting it to them and seeing if they are comfortable with, how we're moving forward and using some fund balance that we know we need for operations plus capital projects that are coming. And then we see if they are willing to meet the amount that you have already approved at the 0.20. If not, then I would suggest us coming right back very quickly and looking at ways then that we might have to make some adjustments. I'm getting the sense that that's, what they're wanting us to do. I am making some cuts in the budgets as it is
Okay.
with what I'm presenting to you.
Right.
So you'll see some of that and we'll discuss that during budget.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm not going as drastic as like hours yet, but in our budget sessions, if that's where we're going and you'd want to see it in advance of that and then me working on it to put that in, I'd like to have those conversations as a full board.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I think, any other questions, thoughts? Is
No, I
that-
think that's
is
a good way
everyone
to address it.
comfortable?
We'll talk about it
Okay.
at the budget meeting
Yep.
and see
Yeah.
how we want to present it.
Okay, all right, very
Okay.
good, thank you. Yep. I do want to note, just if you will look on page 28, I did highlight in yellow because I had to pull the report before the actual 10th, which is the city's like closeout date when they pull finances and run reports, and that was to meet our budget, or sorry, our board meeting date. So Bindia returns back on Monday. And you didn't hear me say that, but no, really. And she will pull another one, so the finance department, the finance committee will have that pulled report through the 10th to look at, to see if there won't be much adjustment, but there'll be a little bit, and that'll bring us through to the 6 months, through December. Because I was still paying invoices and things like that. And with the city's meeting on Saturday, that's an actual city council meeting that I'm going to. It's their goal-setting meeting, but it's an actual city council meeting where they're approving invoices. So that's why I wanted to make sure, this was all in line with them. But I'll provide that, and then you'll have, all the board will have that same document of the updated financials through, the actual date of the 17th. I'll run things for you to see where we are at 6 months. I usually do that when I present to you, just so that we're looking at the best case at that point. Okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Anything else, Brian?
No.
Okay. Any questions for Brian? I can flip my page here. Director's report.
Hello. Okay, just a couple things. We have our February anniversaries coming up for years of service, and so we'll be recognizing Eva Sobolchak. She'll be celebrating 10 years. Eva is a supervisor with our Support Services Department. And then we have Heather Hames. She is celebrating 2 years. Heather is an information services librarian who works with us on Sundays. And so congratulations to both of them with their years. I included a couple of programs on page 33 to make you aware of. We've got our MLK Day Unity Dinner. If you are planning to go, please make sure you register. That's next week on Thursday the 15th. We have a preschool childcare resource fair coming up on Wednesday the 21st. The Mayor's Youth Forum. So I will be in attendance for that because this is new. This will give me an idea of what the mayor is kind of looking for from our teens in the community and what youth might need, if there's things that come up about the library. So I plan to attend these, but then also be able to, from there, find out, is that the way to go, or will we, have an actual student here? It is my hope that we'll have a student, but maybe what he's doing might serve better, but I'll be able to give you more information as soon as I attend that. Okay?
In regard to that, Julie, because that's a little bit up in the air how that's going to work, does it make sense in our forum agenda to continue listing the student representative report, which there really won't be?
Well, the reason I keep it is because you do get the statistics for teen space in there. So I can remove do you know what I mean? But I would give you those stats for usage.
Okay.
Okay?
Maybe just call it something a little bit different.
Okay.
To say
sure.
there's no report
Right.
is kind of conflicting with there is information. Just
it.
to
I'll rename it teen space statistics or something.
something
for
like
that?
yeah,
Okay.
something like that.
Sure.
Because it almost looks like there should be a
There should
report
be
and there's
something.
not a
Right,
report.
somebody's not
Okay,
doing that.
not a problem. I did put in the form in there this time.
Oh, that's
just
fine,
to
yep.
Yeah, just to bring you aware of it, but yes, I can definitely do that. Great. And then, let me get back there real quick. I also included on page 34, just wanted to make you aware of some new senior kits that are available through MPL. We had a generous donor, and so these are designed to stimulate senses, spark memories, and encourage engagement around a given topic. And so these can be checked out and used. And a thank you to Emma DeCenso, who's our outreach librarian, for working on this and making these available. And then the Friends are also right now looking to award a scholarship. They have a scholarship opportunity for a student who is graduating this year, so a senior from who lives in Novi, doesn't have to go just to Novi High School, but is a senior and is a Novi resident. So, and then I'll be happy to take any questions with any of the other reports that follow from my managers and supervisors, if you have any.
Question. In terms of the return, how's the construction working for removing, knocking the holes in the wall, and how's that going?
Everything's going very well, very smoothly. The construction team is working very well. In fact, they're pretty much, they have one more thing to get ready for Linxos when they deliver the machine. So they're working very quickly. We ran into needing an additional electrical outlet, which occurred this week, which we went ahead and approved. That won't be coming under the money that was approved through the staff, but out of our facilities money in order to
Can
do
that
that.
contractor that was going to do it add that too?
Yes,
Okay.
the contractor will be doing it. It's a sub that he subs out to, but
Okay,
yes.
but he's
handles
getting
it.
it done.
Yes, but it is going very well. We don't seem to be getting too many complaints from people either who have to, come into the building and drop off their materials right now. In fact, I was outside with Mary Ann today and we were looking at something that has to be adjusted a little bit in terms of framing when Linxos, sends the new equipment. And I had someone, she didn't drive up, she walked up and handed me her materials. I was happy to take them and take them into the building for her.
Let's not, yeah, okay.
It was still before hours,
You
so
could-
we hadn't opened yet.
Never
And
put up enough
it was
signs.
about 9:45, and she handed them to me, and I'm happy to take them. We will do that. So, but not too much. I think people understand, and again, this is a kudos to how we've handled things, in the past, and obviously with Dana, is that we try to communicate well in advance so people know what's going on, so that they can, prepare and plan accordingly. So
I appreciate you condensing the time
Yes.
that we
Oh,
closed.
Yep.
yeah, that worked out.
we were able to do that as well. Yep.
Because
Yep.
I think that sounds a little better, because I think the residents do miss the return.
Oh, absolutely. I know they do. And there's a perfect example of it, today. So, yeah, thank you. Anything else?
I'm just wondering what's, since we do have the automatic book return at the Lakeshore Library.
Yes.
What kind of volume does that see normally? Does that see?
The winter, it's slower, definitely.
Well, I mean, I just might
Yeah.
be a little bit of a, to put in some of the notices, oh, by the way, there is a book return at the Lakeshore Library for those needing it and so forth. It might generate some traffic up there we haven't seen. Who
We
knows?
don't encourage people to put library materials that are not from the actual
Okay,
kiosk up there. And that's because it can only hold so much.
okay,
It's-
yeah, that's why I was trying to figure out
Yeah.
what the volume that we see up there
It's not
is.
as robust in terms of taking on a lot of materials. So if you're using the kiosk, we ask that you return at the kiosk, but we don't ask that you
Okay.
just return anything. I think we'd have a hard time keeping up, with that. So we just try to keep it. That way it's easier too for the
Sure.
staff to fill the machine back as well with the same materials that belong there. Yep. But we are doing polar prizes right now, so that is getting a little bit of, trying to drum up that little bit of usage. And then trying to work with the city in order to do some programming out there in order to get more foot traffic as well. Mhm. Anything else? Yes. Hello.
So I have a question about the senior kits.
Yes.
Years ago, when I was the director of the senior center, there was a countywide or statewide initiative to have senior kits given to leaders, like given to directors, and the directors would present programs. And I'm just wondering, since this is an outreach effort, the people who are most in need of these are often the ones that are in assisted living or in some other facility or whatever. How are the senior kits always going to be at the library, or are they going out to places like Walden Woods or?
Right.
I
I will have to get back to you on that, because in the past when we've had them, because we had them a number of years ago, and we worked with the directors and programming people of those different
Yeah.
facilities in order for them to use them and know that they were available. And we made it available for them to get library cards very easily. So I'll get back to you on those details of whether it's being used that way, or if seniors are working with caregivers and things like that on their own.
Yeah, it just seems
Yep.
like if this is going to, if the population that we hope to reach are probably people that aren't as mobile and can even get to the library. So
Right.
it seems like maybe we should think also about ways that the kits can go out to facilities.
Yep. I will definitely circle back with you on that.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would like to, well, I'll let you finish taking your notes, Julie.
Got it. Go ahead. Thank you.
I'd like to look at page 50 on a handout, which is the library usage.
Yep.
And there's a lot of variation in terms of the drive-up. About a year ago, we were getting about 6,000 drive-ups. There's some question about whether the sensors were working properly or not, and overcounting.
Yep.
Which is a drastic change in a way, from 6,000 to what now appears to be 600.
Right.
With the exception in November and December, where it jumped up to 1,800 and 2,400. Now, maybe those were colder months, and people decided to drop off their books instead of walk into the library. But I guess I would, like to know that we're now comfortable with the Vercadia system. And there's a lot of comments on here, it wasn't working, and there's been, personal checks and stuff. But are we saying that the numbers in Vercadia, say from July to December, we're pretty comfortable with those?
We
now?
are, and they're more accurate.
Okay.
What we were finding is that the other system prior might have been duping a number of times, counting the car,
Okay.
as it moved through the drive-through. And with the Verkada system, we can actually have it only count cars and not people. If we were getting people, which our students from the high school walk through there too, even though it's not a sidewalk, they walk through that driveway area,
Okay.
that would pick up as a hit. And with the Verkada system, that actually can determine, no people in cars. And so I do feel, based on connecting with Jeff Smith from IT, that we are getting more accurate numbers on page 50 now and with the Verkada system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what I'll have to do, just so that you know, is, it does change our numbers a little bit, in terms of usage, right?
lot.
A lot.
Yes,
Changes
it does. And so I'm in the midst of doing the state aid report where, we've put in some of those numbers in the past. I will make a notation this year that, we switched to a new system, and we believe that system could have been counting more than it does now currently, and just so that they have a record of something where we weren't fabricating these numbers, we're making them up. We were using what we thought was good, a system to use to count, but we're finding that it wasn't as accurate as it could have been. So, and now I believe that what we're using now with the new technology and it being able to hone in on a vehicle and only once, I think we're getting a better number.
Okay.
Yep. Nope, it's a great question.
And I don't know if you had a chance to determine like how many books or videos or anything that's returned is returned through the automated system directly. I don't know.
Yeah, you had asked that, and then the machine is right now down. We don't have it. What I'd like to do is once we get back Linksos up, I'd like to look at that for you and determine how much actually comes in from the drive up itself, coming through that particular counting system versus, because, the staff will bring stuff to the back also, but I want it just to be coming through the drive up.
Yeah, because I was under, I think, probably a false impression. I was thinking most of the returns were coming through there.
Yeah, I don't think they are.
And now I'm beginning to believe most of the returns are coming through the lobby.
Yes.
And
Yes.
sometimes I wonder
Because
if the automatic return shouldn't have been hooked up to the lobby.
Well, that was something
was
we
an
had,
option.
that is something
That
we
was
had
something
talked
we talked
about.
about, yeah.
Because if that's where, let's say, 80% or 70% are.
Yep.
But I was thinking otherwise, maybe in part because of the sensor counting the cars.
Yes. No,
No,
you're absolutely right on that. In fact, when we were, designing the building originally, there were questions about having those 3 internal drops connected, with conveyor and everything to the back system. We couldn't design it where you could drive up and have internal, just because of the building itself. But we looked at that, which would have been way more expensive, having all that. And there are libraries that have done it. But it's still such a huge savings on time, even if we're moving those materials from inside to the back and checking them in. But I will be able to get you, I'm very confident I'll be able to give you some very good numbers of just what comes in the drive-through in terms of materials. And I realize, Mark, you're asking that, from the standpoint of, can this machine not have to be shut down? Can we keep it up 24/7 and 7 days a week?
Yep.
And not have to worry. And, I have shared with you, this is new software and a new system, and we weren't able to remote in and do that type of looking at the machine that we currently have, and now we can to see what kind of usage it's getting if we're on a 3-day closure.
Okay, good.
Right.
Because I kind of remember advertising it as, 24/7.
We did.
Like we're now talking about the Lakeshore Lending is 24/7.
Yep.
And so I keep thinking of that, and maybe
Right.
I'm the only one that thinks that way.
No, but when I look, we truly are 24/7. We don't close it at night except for those times when we are closed 2 days or more. And we're talking, 20 days out of 365.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a lot.
No,
It's not.
I really don't. And I will continue to tell that to you, because if it means bringing in staff, then I'm going to pay someone overtime to come in on a holiday to do that. And I don't think that's worth our money
Well,
to do that.
That's, I think,
That's-
the things we could consider.
Absolutely. And I think that's, that's money that goes out the door that wouldn't have to go out at all, if that's what we're talking about. So, and I'd be doing time and a half for someone on a holiday to come in and do that, because that's not fair, to make an employee do that without it being beneficial to them, if they're gonna do that, if we're gonna get the holidays off. So I just, my 2 cents.
Fair enough.
So, anything else that I can provide or answer? No? All right.
No questions for a director? Okay. Second public comment, still nobody that looks like they want to speak to us or address us. So I'm going to ask in regard to anybody want to talk about their committees this past month, if it's not showing up as as a motion item later on. Don't all speak at once?
Maybe I should say something about HR. The fact that we are now looking again
We
for
are.
a secretary. I'm sure you've all seen those notes. It was kind of amazing to me when I got the update. It was like such a huge update. It was like, all of a sudden, we had a secretary, then we didn't have a secretary, and then, then we have a new member already. So it's going to be a new member that was going to be the secretary, which is kind of interesting. But anyway, we want to welcome Tori in whatever capacity he's going to be serving. And just to let you know that we are going to be going into interviews again.
Yes,
for
the person that we
secretary.
had chosen and actually offered the position to hasn't
Still didn't respond.
hasn't responded, and we made the offer, way before the holidays, and so it is. So we had a few other applicants that we could go back to that were already reviewed from the HR committee, and so we've got interviews actually set up for next week, and we are moving along. Yes.
In the meantime, Carla's doing a great job.
Yes, you are, Carla. Thank you. And all of you be very patient with her at budget time, because that's going to
Yes,
be,
please.
yeah.
Yes, please.
Yes, that's so, we have a lot, and I don't mind saying this, we have a lot of conversations at that meeting that don't, though, have, they're conversations, they don't have to be noted, right? If there are questions, though, which I shared with, Carla, if there's a question that someone asks for more information, we'll make sure that we note those so that, we can follow up and get back on things. That would be important, but.
Do we have like a recording device that we can help with, Carla?
I definitely can look into, we did have one, so I can look, yes.
Just because that's just a huge
Yes.
help.
For sure.
With all that.
Yes,
sure.
let me
Thank you,
look
Kathy.
into that.
I feel like we misled you.
I know, wait a minute.
I've been there.
She's
I
on the
will, I
HR,
will
you're on
definitely,
the HR committee, right?
look into that, yes. But thank you, so we are moving forward.
Any other committee information? If not, moving to matters for library board action. This is the second reading of the iCube usage policy, pages 62 to 64. I'll entertain a motion so we can discuss it.
Motion to approve?
Support?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the iCube usage policy set forth on pages 62 to 64. Any discussion?
I just had a couple notes to consider.
Yes.
So, under safety, the first bullet point, report any iCube accident or incident. I was thinking instead of making that sentence long, it would be like, report any iCube accident or incident that occurs to a library staff member immediately. Just because you have that verbiage on the next page, with regards to, I think, equipment usage and whatever. So I figured just, Edit it
I'm open to
down.
that.
okay.
I'm sorry, where were you at?
I'm sorry, second bullet, or first bullet under safety,
Okay, there, okay.
sub-bullet.
That was at the time of the accident or the incident.
Yeah, I just said, instead of saying, time of the accident, incident, just say immediately.
Okay.
Friendly
If
amendment,
everyone's
and
amenable
I
to
still
that.
have a tough time with that sentence.
I was gonna
because
say,
it sounds
I
like
read
it's
it too.
happening to the
That's
library
exactly
staff.
what I had circled right here. Same thing. Yep.
I mentioned that during our,
Yes, you did.
Your committee
Yeah.
meeting?
Can if we rework it to report to a library staff member any iCube incident or accident?
Immediately?
Yeah.
Okay, let's redo it, so go ahead, give me that wording again.
Okay, report to a library staff member any iCube accident / incident that occurs immediately. Or immediately report would even be better, if you put immediately before report.
Yeah, immediately report,
So
yeah.
it would be immediately report
to a library staff member any iCube accident / incident that occurs.
Period.
Great.
I like that.
Yay, and then, under equipment usage, in the fourth bullet point,
Yes.
about being financially responsible, I feel like that's super important. And so my suggestion is to move that up.
Okay.
Um,
Do you
I-
want it to be first? They're all equal, but I know what you mean. Sometimes when you read bullet points, it stands out more when you move
Yeah.
it, so.
yeah,
People get bored on the way down.
Yeah.
No, you're right. right. I
Yep.
think
What,
that's a good point.
Yeah, yeah, to the first page. No,
Fourth bullet first to the-
I mean, I would defer that to you and your team, Julie, but I just felt like that's such an important thing to emphasize and call out visually, that you don't want that one specifically buried.
so I would put it after first come, first served, just because that
Yes.
talks about usage.
That's important,
Okay.
yeah.
So if you're comfortable with that, we'll make it the second.
I'm comfortable with that.
Great.
And then my final note was under the no liability. I was thinking that maybe your staff could break that up into bullets
Okay,
instead
are
of
you?
one,
Right here.
no liability.
No liability.
Oh,
Because basically,
up.
like, what's happening is you're listing, what we're not responsible for, but then
Yes.
you go additionally,
right.
and if you bullet everything, you won't have to do additionally,
Okay,
was my suggestion.
okay. I can definitely take that back and have us do that.
Okay.
Yep, perfect. Language is good, though. You're comfortable with it. It's
Yeah,
just, yep.
language is good.
Okay.
So we
Anything
just
else?
do this with the friendly amendment? Is that how
Yes,
that's?
I can if you approve it that way.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
made the motion, so. Did I make the motion? I did.
Yep.
Yes, you
Yeah.
did.
So I approved the friendly amendment of myself with
Second.
And
those
Crawford was the
adjustments.
second.
Yes,
Second?
I'll approve.
Okay.
So the three sort of grammatical changes are under safety, immediately report to a library staff person any iCube accident incident that occurs. We're changing the bullet points under equipment usage, so what's the fourth bullet point will become the second bullet point, and the third will move down accordingly, and then we're creating bullet points in the no liability section.
Great.
That's what we're
Yeah.
looking at approving unless
Yep.
there are any additional comments or changes. With those slight modifications, I'll ask the secretary to take the vote.
Okay. Trustee Dooley.
Yes.
Trustee Helvangus says yes. Trustee Stirring.
Yes.
Trustee Bartlett.
Yes.
Trustee Burke.
Yes.
Trustee Crawford.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Could we get a final copy of that?
Absolutely.
There's no communication.
There are none.
We have already on our agenda, which we approved, a closed session to do a review of our director, mid-year review of our director, so we don't have to vote on that. And I would say we go into the closed session right now.
And we wouldn't be coming out with anything that has to be approved if you want to actually adjourn the meeting and go into closed session, because.
Why don't we do that? Why don't we do that?
And that way, you don't have anybody else waiting.
Yeah, okay, because there'll be nothing to
Correct,
report.
there's nothing to come out with.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. Let's, do a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Going to do
And
a
then
roll call?
Carl will
What
just-
would you raise our hand?
Yeah, please.
And then, yep.
Aye.
All-
Any-
Okay.
okay.
Motion carries 6-0.